Hey everyone, welcome to another video of Willson Builds. If you're new here, I'm Zach. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys are returning from previous videos or my Instagram, you guys are awesome. The support is greatly appreciated. If you haven't already followed me on Instagram, it's the same handle down below. And I love seeing you guys on there, DMing me, asking me questions. It means a lot. So today we're doing another episode of the 1929 Ford Roadster. It's kind of a mashup of little jobs, I would say. We're gonna try and get as many as we can done. That is taking the headlights off, starting to restore them, which is a shame because they are like perfectly patinaed. Getting hardware for the front crash bar, taking our trunk lid to Lee to get louvered. I've decided to louver it instead of fiddling around with bodywork. Yeah, just a lot of little jobs. I'm trying to think. We got to disassemble some of the 327 because I think we're going to put that in here. So it's just going to be, yeah, a mashup of little jobs because as you guys know at home, the little jobs very slowly turn into a kind of a lumped big job. So let's see how many we can get done today. Okay, so our first task is taking apart our headlights. I have a pretty handsome dent there. So I'm gonna try and build like maybe like a piece of wood that matches this kind of shape so I can hammer it out. If I have to do a little bit of body work, that's okay too. It's kind of a shame taking these apart just because the patina is great, but I mean, they're not hard to find in good patina, so I'm not overly stressed out about it. I'd also like to get that plaque off here, guide headlamp, and it gives you a model number. I think that's just kind of cool, and it's actually in really good condition. And I think they shine up kind of neat once you polish them. So we'll drill those rivets real quick, and we'll just have to put a regular rivet back in. And yeah, take everything else off and take them to sandblast. All right, guys, we are on our way. First stop, LG Speed and Custom to see Lee because he is putting the louvers in the trunk lid, and I'm gonna ask him to do as many as humanly possible because I hate bodywork, and the louvers save me from a lot of bodywork on the trunk lid. And louvers up here, body work down here. So that, I mean, louvers win 10 times out of 10 in the right areas over bodywork, so happy to get that done. And then we got to go to blast it and see Scotty so I can borrow a sandblast cabinet to sandblast the headlight buckets, and then we got to go get hardware for the crash bar and the headlight buckets. So hopefully we remember everything. I usually forget at least one thing on trips like these, but we got a game plan, we got a list. So let's get to Lee's and then go from there. Okay, so we dropped the trunk lid off at LG Speed and Custom. Now our next stop is blast it. Okay, headlights or headlight buckets are blasted. We're gonna make a quick pit stop at Wheelie's Motorcycle Cafe, get one of the best sandwiches in town, and then literally right across the street is the hardware store, our fastener for us to get our nuts and bolts. So we will do that right after. And then there was one thing I was forgetting. We have to get paint and primer, so we'll be doing that as well. Hardware is acquired. So last stop is going to be Rondex Paint Supply to see our friend Jim and get some red for the Roadster and some primer. I think we're good for clear as of right now. And yeah, then we can go home and try to finish some of these small tasks. Okay, so we're back, got everything we needed. Fingers crossed. I haven't really gone too in depth to see if we forgot anything. But I think the first thing I want to do is I want to get this dent out of the bucket. All right, we got most of that dent out. You can still see a little bit of it, but we can just go over it with our hammer and dolly and try to make it as best as we can. That being said, we can always put a little tiny bit of body filler on here as well. So while we wait for these to dry, I'm gonna go and try and clean these up a bit. So I had these for quite a while, and I think that's the best we can get them, and they're still pretty dull. So whether we buy new ones or get them re-chromed, I'm not too sure. It'd cost probably a fortune to get these chromed, but not off the table. We'll have to see what everything else looks like with these kind of dull chrome pieces and go from there. But our body filler is hard and dry, so I'm gonna go hit that with the sander. I'll be right back. I'm not gonna show you guys this. You guys have probably seen this a million times, but I'll just go rip it and hope for the best. All right, so it's feeling pretty smooth. Gonna give it a really good wipe down, and then we can spray it with primer. Coat 2, go a little bit heavier now. All right, so we've let the lights dry for about a day. Looking pretty good. You can see some little like dots of the body filler, but if you're not looking, you wouldn't see them. So I think we're ready for clear coat. Yeah. Nice. So just spray them as usual. Not really much setup. I'm just gonna hold them like I did. Spray them, put them down, let them dry. I'm a big advocate of spray cans. Obviously not like store-bought spray cans, like spray cans you can get at, you know, automotive paint stores, which is actually like a good base coat. So yeah, let's get it clear on here and hang them to dry. All right, so while we wait for our paint to be ready to clear coat, I'm going to fix the threads in our crash bar. They had strip threads in the one side, so we're gonna get this all working again and get it in the car. The next little job I would like to do isn't on the frame, it's actually on the body. And that is putting our taillights on. So a pretty simple install, I guess. You drill a hole here and then you drill 2 holes for our bolts. So we just got to figure out a good spot. For the sake of it, I would like to have them over just for, I don't know, looks. I don't want them here. It might like make the car look kind of small, and we have to have a license plate, whether it be here or down below. But I think I like them over here. These are actually nice taillights too. They were like a Facebook Marketplace find of the day. Nice point. So should be a pretty easy install. But again, just another little job we can cross off the list. All right, so we got all our supplies. And I was thinking kind of how to make a template out of this, and then I thought to myself, it comes with a template. So we can kind of, you know, figure out that way. So first things first, let's get a measurement from here to here. So 9 inches. So 4.5 would be our center mark. And then let's maybe call it, I don't know, three-quarters of an inch out? Would that be enough? I guess we can see. Yeah, let's do that. I think that will look good. So we got to find center basically here and on the other side, so we're not like a little bit off. I mean, it could be maybe a couple mils off, but I don't want it to be anything else. So miraculously, we're actually perfectly in the right spot. Now we can pick our orientation to where we want to drill. We can have the bolts up top or on the sides. We have one little bolt there, so it might be better doing it on the top like so, and it hides that little screw on the bottom. So I think that's what we're gonna go with. So now we just have to basically, I like to clean these up a little bit with a file, and then we'll go ahead and start drilling our holes for our bolts. right, so we got them both kind of loosely fitting now. So we're gonna do some measurements to make sure they're even. So we got 2.5 inches there. 2.5 inches there. And how are we gonna do this? 3/4 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. So the tail lights are in. Cool. Yeah, no, I quite like these tail lights. It's funny, when I first saw them, I saw the first picture and it was just this angle. But at first I didn't see the peak. All I saw was that and thought they were kind of flat. But when I picked them up, I'm actually pretty happy with the overall look of them. Okay, back to the headlights. So we did their clear coat, let it dry for, I don't know, 2 days. So now I'm just gonna wet sand them because there's a little bit of orange peel in here. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but right there, you can see the orange peel. And if you're not familiar with what orange peel is, it just looks like the peel of an orange. And it's just the clear coat not drying or being sprayed. I don't know, maybe not sprayed correctly, but maybe not dried correctly. Anyways, once you sand it all down, it looks like this. Smooth. Obviously in some areas you can still see the orange peel, and we'll get more of that out. And then we just polish it. So let's get this one sanded down. Just gonna do a nice wet sand. I like using 2000. You can go up from there. All right, so I just ran out and got our headlights, and now we can polish our headlight buckets. I mean, buying the headlights didn't really matter, but we have them now, so we can put them all back together when we need to. All right. Start off with our 3M compound and a little bit more abrasive of a pad. Okay, let's get these things back together now. All right, so we're running out of small jobs, and that's a really good thing. I know I said we would tackle the motor a bit, but we just got our last pieces of our puzzle for our chassis, and that is the suspension. So hopefully we can tackle some of that, but I'm super excited with what we got today in the mail, and we picked something up as well, and I'll show you what that is. So we picked up our front axle from LG Speed & Custom. It's freshly dropped 4 inches, and we also got our QA1 suspension for the rear, so we can start installing these two pieces. And I'm gonna measure the front and the rear. I got my tape and marker set up so we can measure, write it down, and see how much it actually drops. I like the stance of the Roadster as it sits, but I'd like it a little bit lower. Okay, let's take a quick measurement from the ground to the top rail here. We're at 22 1/4. Yep, 22 1/4. Now we can take our coilovers. So these are QA1 US 304, and they are 11 inches eye to eye. So we'll get a little over 3.5 inch drop when we put these on. The ones I have on here now, I think are 14 3/4 or something. So I'm actually happy to lower this. I just want the wheels to sit a little bit closer to our wheel arches and have that nice stance. And as you can see in the frame, we actually have a built-in C-notch that was stamped into the frame, so we might as well use it and lower this thing a bit. All right, let's see what we're at now. We're at 19 3/4. So 2.5 inch drop. With we still have about an inch or so of adjustment on the shock. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now we can worry about our front axle. So like I said, this axle was dropped by LG Speed & Custom by Lee Grant. And this is a 4-inch drop on an original, it's either a 32 or a 33 and up axle, but it is what it is. It'll work for what we need it to do. I ordered the tube axle before I knew better, and now we have the I-beam, and I'm pretty excited about it. If you know anything about I-beams, they're pretty traditional, but they're also, in my opinion, the cooler looking axle. Some people do the drill or chrome, or there's a lot of different variations you can see of these. But I mean, if I were to change anything about this, I might do the drill marks, but I'm pretty happy with it as it sits right now. So the only big difference is the wedge screws that go into the axle. The tube axle actually doesn't have that, so fingers crossed our Kingpin has that. But yeah, let's start taking this apart and start setting this up. I'm not going to paint it yet, because when we disassemble the body or disassemble the frame for paint, I'll do it then, so we're all kind of on the same page and we can do a video of it. All right, let's get our ride height measurement from the front of the frame here. We're at, to the very tip top, 14.5. So I think the goal now is just to take off as much stuff as we can without disassembling everything. All right, so I tested our mono leaf and it's actually too short. And then I got some advice from Lee, and he said there's two sizes, 29 inch and 31 inch. And this right here says 29 inch. So this will not work for us. That being said, we're still gonna put everything together with our original leaf, and we'll still measure it just for the sake of it. But I have ordered the 31 inch mono leaf. As you can see, it drops it quite a bit. I mean, we'll have the drop axle 1 inch, and then we'll have, what is that, 1.5 inches here. So you'll bring that front end a lot lower. Hopefully it doesn't rub on the frame rails, but if it does, we'll just have to do a small little notch. But that being said, let's get this spring off and get this one all put together. I'd actually like to compare these two because that does not look like a 3-inch drop if that is 4-inch. So let's get this up. So that's 5 3/4 to the top. And that is 9 inches. So 5 3/4, 6 3/4, 7 3/4, 8 3/4. That is a 3 1/4 inch difference. So that might actually drop this 3 more inches. Is that right? I mean, it's damn close, that's for sure. 3 inches, 3-inch difference. Interesting. I guess we'll just have to see when we put back together. So I had to just quickly file inside of here because this actually wasn't going in, but when I checked it from the other side, it went in, so it was just a lip here. That's totally fine. So we can start putting this bad boy back together. So my thought is now, do we just keep it in the vise and do the hubs, or do we put it in the car and do them? I think it'll be easier in the car. Yeah, let's put it in. We can always take it out if it proves difficult. So just not fitting, so I'm just going to take our file and get the surface a little bit more flat, and hopefully we can get it working. I just got to make sure our cutout in our axle is the same as our hole down here. So that cutout right there needs to kind of sit in that circle. All right, big reveal. Let's see how low we got with the axle. Whoa, I think that's a lot lower. Could be wrong though, it just looks lower, maybe because the axle swoops down. So it is 1 1/4, so 12 inches and 1/4. meaning it's 2 inches and 2/4 lower. It's not bad ride height. All right, guys, we got a ton of jobs done in this video. I'm super happy where we got to. The highlight is getting it lowered. I mean, I've been looking at this car for a few months where it's been sitting with the body on, and I knew it needed to be low, so we lowered it. I played it again with the front, so we got 2.5 in the front and 2.5 in the rear. So in my opinion, it's a great stance now, but we won't really know until we get the body on. I know I said I was gonna buy a monoleaf and I ordered it, and I just actually called Speedway and canceled it because I actually really like the stance this is in, but we'll be able to tell when the body's on. We might still go with the monoleaf and lower it just a few more inches in the front, but we're really gonna have to see kind of where everything's sitting body-wise, if we got a good rake, if we got a good stance. So other than that, I'm really happy with all the other little jobs we got done. There was, a lot on my list, and we crossed a lot of those off today. So if you saw something you like, dislike, something I can improve on, if you just want to see something specifically done with this Roadster, or just roast me down in the comments, please do so below. And while you're down there, don't be afraid to hit that like, subscribe, and notifications so you know when we're uploading. I know it's cheesy to say, but it really helps the channel and really motivates me to keep making these videos for you guys. And I can't thank you guys enough again for the support. Every video, it's really enthuses me seeing you guys, seeing the comments, seeing the support. So thank you very much for supporting the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.